Hello everybody, my name is Jacqueline and in today's video I will be reviewing, giving you some swatches, demo and 2 eye looks using the brand new eyeshadow palette by Nabla Cosmetics called Secret Palette. But before we get started, and if you're new here, please consider to subscribe to my channel and ring that little notification bell so you get to know whenever I upload new videos. And now if you want to know more about this eyeshadow palette, get to see how I do 2 eye looks using this beauty and my honest opinion, just keep on watching. There hasn't been too many eyeshadow palette releases lately, but one that grabbed my attention is the Secret Palette by Nabla. And if you don't know, Nabla Cosmetics is made in Italy. So I ordered it the day of the release and it came fairly fast, but then I got caught into my own personal work and then other reviews that I kind of like had a schedule before. So anyhow, I wanted to show you that my package came on the mail and it was really nicely wrapped. Here is the box that it came in. I think it's super cute right here. It looks actually like a garden. And here it is, the Nabla Secret Palette. So pretty. So this is the sleeve right here, and then on the back you will find all the ingredients, details about this eyeshadow palette. Now if I take off the sleeve, it unveils the beautiful cover. I really like that the design of the sleeve remains cohesive with the design of the actual palette, because I don't know, sometimes, I don't know if you feel the same way that I do, but sometimes I see like, okay, we have a beautiful sleeve, but then when you open up the actual palette cover, it is not the same, and it's like, oh, but I really love the sleeve. Most likely I will not keep the sleeve. So this palette right here at least has the same design, which I really appreciate, and it's beautiful embossed. It has some flowers right here, a sun, the moon, an eye, then the roses or flowers, some seashells. I mean, like, just super pretty, the embossing, and then also the foil detail of the gold and the magenta all over. And then the texture right here is kind of like a pebble type of texture, and this color right here is kind of ivory, and it has also a little moon back here. See it right there. It's super pretty. Now this palette, when you open it up, you will see the beautiful 15 shades. There you go. And then it has a very nice mirror, which I really appreciate. I think I've said it many times here on my channel. I really love when palettes include a mirror. It makes a difference for me because I really like to do my makeup with the mirror of my eyeshadow palette. It is just something that I find myself more comfortable, because, like, for example, if I'm doing my makeup and I'm using my bronzer, I just use my bronzer for a minute, while my eyeshadow palette, I stay doing my eye look for a little longer than the application of a bronzer, as an example. So anyhow, here you go. These are the beautiful shades. There is a combination of mauve shades, some kind of like hot pink and light pink, and then we have some browns right here. Then we have this row that is just so pretty. There's this kind of like white with teal color kind of shade that it has some sparkle to it, so it's a shimmery color. Then these are kind of like a blue, but not your typical blue. They're more into kind of like a teal color. And then you have this beautiful pink tone, and then you have some of your golden shades right here, a really nice transition shade, and then a black shade in the palette that I think that sometimes, I mean, it's not necessary for every palette, but I think for this color story right here, it actually complements the palette really well. And in this palette, the eyeshadows have different formulations. We have super matte, fluid metals, crystals, and satin. In addition, there are 2 new formulas for Nabla Cosmetics, and those are Velvet, which you will find it in the Nabla shade, which I love the name Nabla, you know, Nabla and then black. I think that was the perfect marriage between the 2 words. And then we also have Diamond Duochromes, which are these Fantasize and Hyper Sensual. And now let's go into the swatches. First, we have these beautiful kind of taupey shimmer shade called Aesthetic. Oh, this formula feels so soft. Then we have a matte shade called Contigo, which means with you. Now Contigo is also a Spanish word. Then we have this beautiful shimmer shade called Big Experience. Then we have a beautiful pink matte shade, kind of like a bubblegum pink, really pretty. And the name is Julieta, for Juliet. Next we have a beautiful, kind of like a bronze shimmer shade called Romeo or Romeo. So we have here Romeo and Juliet, Romeo and Julieta. Next shade is kind of a little bit more of a chunky kind of texture. It's called Play Hard. It's a little bit more crumbly, but it's a duotone, kind of like a tauper. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. You see that? Next shade is called Rosemary. And it's interesting. I remember when I met my husband, and I mean, I have tried many times Italian food, and I'm not very fond to have rosemary in my, in my food, but in Italy they use a lot of rosemary, a lot of rosmarino. So here's the shade Rosemary, and it's kind of like a teal green type of shade, super pretty. Next shade is a matte shade, and it's again another type of blue, not a very common blue, to be honest with you. It's a blue that we don't see it very often. It's a dark teal blue. And the matte formula of this palette seems to be very soft, super soft to touch, very creamy. And this shade is called Addiction. Next shade is that new diamond formula, and the name is Fantasize. It's a beautiful blue shade. Next shade is a matte brown shade, and it's called Mea Culpa, which means my fault. And it's actually Mea Culpa is, well, La Mia Culpa, it's in Italian, but Mea Culpa it is in Latin. You can find this phrase usually in the Bible. Next shade is another shimmer shade that has some pink, champagne, very pretty tone, and seems like it has a little bit like a hint of light kind of like blush peach in it, but super light, and the name is called Promise. Next shade is the new formula Diamond Duochrome, and it's called Hypersensual, and this is again looks kind of like a topper shade right here. Next shade is a matte camel type of shade, and the name is Ghibli. Now Ghibli is a Maserati type of car, and we know Maserati it's a brand from Italy, so there you go, that's Ghibli. Next shade is a shimmer shade that has a kind of like an antique gold type of tone, a little bit of more warmth to it, and the name is Creation Crown. And the next shade is actually Nabla, which is the new formulation. Ooh, wow, you saw that? One pass. Nabla has that velvet formulation, which it will give a very dark, intense, with extreme depth. As you could tell by the swatch, it was like one swipe, but it gave me like full intensity. I'm very pleased with the swatches. Actually, this is my first time that I'm trying Nabla Cosmetics. So here are the swatches are close, and hopefully they translate the same on the eyelids. So now I'm gonna be doing actually 2 eye looks today. So let's jump into the first eye look. So as you can tell, I have already my foundation, my concealer. I have put concealer on my eyelids, and I have set it too with a setting powder. For this look right here, I want to start with the shade Ghibli right here. And I'm going to be using my Blender Pro brush by Sonia G. And I'm just going to apply it all over the lid. Next, with this EcoTool shade brush, this is a double-ended brush. I just want to pack the shade Addiction, which is this kind of blue teal shade. And I'm just going to take it all over the lid. And again, I'm just trying to pack in the color for them to blend it in. Now I'm gonna go back to the shade Ghibli, and I'm just gonna use my same brush that I used before, the Sonia G, and I'm just gonna blend in the two shades. Now with this Sonia G Builder Pro brush, I want to go to the shade Rosemary, and I'm going to see to apply it dry, and I'm going to apply it on the outer side of my lid and on my inner side. Okay, I'm having a little bit of fallout, but very minimal. So because I have a little bit of fallout, I'm going to be using my MAC Fix Plus. And just wet, I'm gonna wet the brush. That will also help me to have a better payoff of the shadow, but also to help with any fallout. Oh yeah, there you go. With a very small blender brush, I'm gonna go to the shade Nabla, and this is actually an e.l.f. brush. It's an e.l.f. eye crease brush. And I'm just gonna apply it on my outer V, just to deepen it up a little bit and just give a little bit more dimension. Now I'm gonna use a shader brush. This is from, I don't remember if I got it. I think I got it on an Ipsy or a BoxyCharm. I don't remember, one of the subscription boxes. But I'm gonna just spray it with my MAC Fix Plus. And I'm gonna dip into this shade called Play Hard. It's this beautiful white shade that it has a flip of blue and teal in it. It's just so beautiful. So I'm just gonna get it, and it's, oh wow. That's beautiful. Let me just go ahead and use my finger. As you know, I like to use my finger. I have no problem with using my finger. It's my most inexpensive tool and I love it. I'm just using right there just to place it in the middle. Now with a pencil brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Addiction. And then I'm gonna use the shade Nabla. With a Morphe M213 brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Play Hard. Now that I'm done with this eye, I'm gonna go ahead and apply the mascara or eyelashes, and I'm gonna be doing my other eyelid off camera and be right back with you. Okay my friends, so here it is, the final look using the Secret Palette by Nabla. I just want to give you a little bit of what other products I have used for my eyes. So basically I went ahead and used my Anastasia Beverly Hills and Ambreezy highlighter. I used that for my brow bone highlighter, and then I just put my lashes. I also use this new Too Faced mascara. It's called Damn Mascara. I also made a review on that one too. And I use it on my lower lashes. And for my waterline, I use a combination of these two Marc Jacobs eye pencils. One is in the shade Peridot, And then the other one is in the shade Odyssey, which is one of my favorite shades. You know that I use it quite a bit here on my channel, but it's a combination of these two shades right here. Now, as far as my lips goes, I have used the shade Mannequin from the Jeffree Star collection. To top it off, I also use the Hourglass Unreal lip gloss in the shade Sublime. Now we're gonna go for another look. You can tell I have a big stain of eyeshadow from the blue teal shades. First I want to go with the shade Julieta, which is this pink shade, with my Sonia G Blended Pro brush. Then with a Sonia G Blended Pro brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Big Experience. I'm gonna apply it right here on like half of my lid. Now with a Morphe M421 brush, I want to go to this shade called I Promise. And I'm going to apply it on my inner part of my lid. I think I need to wet my brush with some MAC 6 Plus. Let me try with my finger. Okay, with the finger will give you more pigmentation. Now with a Luxie 131 brush, I'm gonna go into this shade called Contigo. That shade right here. And I'm gonna deepen out my outer corner. Now to marry the two shimmer shades together, I'm gonna go into this other shimmer shade called Hyper Sensual. And I'm gonna grab it with my finger. And these have kind of like a duochrome type of shade where you see a little bit of gold and a little bit of like pinky undertone. And I'm just gonna put it right in the middle. Now with my same Sonia G Blended Pro brush, I'm gonna go again to the shade Julieta. And I'm gonna pinch the brush and I'm just gonna put it on my lower lash line. Then with a Sigma E30 brush, which is a pencil brush, I'm gonna go to the shade Contigo. I'm just gonna line my lower lash line. I'm gonna be finishing my other eyelid off camera and be right back with you. And this is the second look using the Secret Palette. And just to wrap up on the look, I just used a little bit of my Anastasia and Ambrisi highlighter for my brow bone and my inner corners. I also used a little bit of a black eyeliner and then some mascara. I decided to don't use any faux lashes. And then for my lips, I went ahead and used these Dominique Cosmetics Berries and Cream in the shade Creamy Pink. And over top, I used a little bit of this Fenty Balm gloss in the shade Diamond Milk. And out of this look, I think the shades were pretty much easy to blend. I didn't find any trouble using Juliet. I think I was expecting a little bit more about this shade, I Promise. Didn't give me a lot of pigmentation, which I mean, it had a great opportunity to be a little bit more impactful, but it didn't. And then this shade Contigo worked really nice. It actually is a very, very nice matte shade, and I didn't have any problems using this shade Big Experience. But this shade, I Promise, definitely use it wet or with your finger to get the best payoff out of it. Now the shade Hyper Sensual is also kind of like a topper shade. It doesn't have a lot of pigmentation. It's very pretty, but it's kind of more like a topper more than anything else. Now, before I go into my final thoughts on the palette, I think I never talked to you about this, but the cost of the palette, it is well, it is in euros, which it costed 39.90 euros. Well, in the conversion right now, it will be about between $43 to $45 depending on, you know, the conversion of the day. With all of the shipping from Europe to United States, it cost me about $49, almost $50, including the shipping. Now this palette right here, like I mentioned before, is made in Italy. It's also cruelty-free and vegan, and after opening it up, you will have about 18 months to use it. Now into the final thoughts about this palette. I think this is such a beautiful palette. This is the first time that I tried Nabla Cosmetics eyeshadows, and I think the matte formula is super creamy. I find that I had some fallout, not much with the matte shades, a little bit with these Velvet Nabla. I had a little bit of fallout, but this is a new formulation for them. But I didn't have fallout with this shade right here, Addiction. I had some fallout with this shade, Rosemary, and this shade right here, Play Hard. It's more of a chunky kind of texture, so it doesn't have a lot of glitter, but it's just like, it's a very like thick kind of texture, like crumbly type of texture, so you will have some fallout. So I recommend when you go with this palette, do first your eyeshadow, mostly if you're using the darkest colors as I did today, so that you do not have to clean afterwards, because I had to retouch my concealer after using the palette because I had a little bit of fallout right here. Blendability is really good, as any dark shades, mostly on the blue family, reddish tones. I always suggest to actually pack the shadow before you start blending it, so you don't get you know, patchiness. I didn't find any patchiness with these eyeshadow. Again, I use the same technique that I know, that is packing the shadow and then blend it in slowly. Basically just the edges. Now as far as the shimmer shades, I will say dry, they will give you some payoff, but they are not like Anastasia kind of eyeshadows that you will have a payoff immediately just with a brush. I will highly suggest to use either your finger, and if you don't like to use your finger, to wet your brush with some sort of like the MAC Fix Plus or any other spray, so that you will have a better payoff on those shimmer shades. Now this palette, what I like about it is that you have kind of like your pinkish kind of tones right here, your very warm, again, pink, red undertones right here. Then you get right here, and then you will find these beautiful blue shades. And then on the last row, you kind of have a very interesting combination. This row right here for me is more like a daytime look. And to be honest with you, this Nabla right here is perfect on this palette, because you can take any daytime look. Say if you use these shades right here with this shade right here, is a very, like, you know, romantic type of look, and then you can deepen it up and make it a more dramatic look using your black shade. So I think the palette is just beautiful. I'm happily impressed with the eyeshadows itself, and I really look forward to actually know more about this brand Nabla and see what else they are coming out with. So I'm very happy with my purchase. Now my friends, this is a wrap. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did so, please do not forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you know somebody that will enjoy these type of videos, if you don't know about my channel, please share. And before you leave, do not forget to click on that big red rectangular button that says subscribe, and subscribe to my channel. And until the next time, I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful day. Bye-bye. Fell down, nothing happened.